Okay, let's continue. Okay. Oh wait, where's my notebook? Okay, got my notebook. Where did we leave off? Okay. So this one, again, back to Jim Rohn, notes. Words are like a lamp for your feet and a light for your path. Shows you the steps to take and the path to follow. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, if you have the right information, then you won't have to grope around in the dark without really making progress in, you know, if you aren't off the beaten path, and the beaten path is just, you know, school, university, job. So, you know, if you have something else you want to pursue, it's going to be a lot easier if you have guidance, which is basically the reason humans are what we are today. So, yeah, school is the current visible path. What if other paths were also lit up for you? Now, I'm not saying don't go to school, but while you go to school, the other things that you do are generally not very... It's for most people, outside of school, you just feel like school is your main thing. It's like your main job, and once you do it, the rest of the time is just for whatever, right? Rather than something else that you actually, to advance something that you care about. And obviously school includes university. Okay. Next. Yes. Oh my god. Okay, so obviously this quote was so good. This section was so good I wrote down the timestamp in the videos so I can find it again in the future. So he's talking about how some people say, you'll encounter people who say this isn't for me, or this doesn't work for me. And so the thing is, you have to understand that it doesn't have to work for everyone. You don't have to have a product that satisfies everyone. Some people aren't gonna like it. Like if you write something on the internet, there's gonna be people who dislike it if enough people see it. So you have to understand that some things aren't for nothing is for everyone, and whatever it is you have won't be for some people, and whatever it is you get may not be for you. So, and also you can say like certain life advice may not work for everyone. Certain actions may not work for everyone. Like for example, certain diets won't work for everyone. Certain exercises won't work for everyone. Certain jobs won't work for everyone. So when someone says this doesn't work for me, Jim's response was, it was designed to not work for some people. Too bad it's you. What do you want me to do about it? I like that a lot. And he had a story about a woman and a man. The woman said, if I was your spouse, or if you were my spouse, I would poison you to death. I don't know how she can stand you. And the man replied, if I was your spouse, I would drink that poison. You know, it's like you have to find the things that are for you, and you have to give your things to the people that your things are for. Whether that's relationship, product, services, occupation, whatever. Yeah, you have to find the ones that work with you. Another thing, I think he told a story about how people who've had a heart attack, who've survived a heart attack, are more likely to live longer, because it serves as an alarm for them to get up and live healthier. Whereas and the other ones just don't survive the heart attack, right? So it's like, it said on average, the people who survive their first heart attack live longer than people who don't have a heart attack or something like that. Because it's like a wake up bell. So sometimes you need something to that almost kills you to make you change what you do so that that thing doesn't happen again. Okay. He shared the 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. The first if is if you learn. The second if is if you try. The third if is if you stay, as in stay around long enough for it to be worthwhile, because if you keep jumping from experience to experience, then you're probably not going to... If you try something new over and over again and don't stick with any, you're not really going to reach the point where any of them are valuable and meaningful to you. And so right, it's like you have to try. When you try, then that means that if you succeed, it will be worthwhile. But if you try and then just try new things every time, then you won't have anything that is of particular value. And I'll give you a simple example. If you try 50 relationships, probably none of them are probably going to be very significant. If, maybe one if it lasted longer, but you can't have a significant relationship in a very short period of time. You instinctively know this. Now, that's not to say you should stick with ones that suck, but, you have to stay for something to be meaningful. If you live with your family for only a year in your entire life, you're probably not going to treat them like very close family. If you live with your family for a very long time, you're more likely to be close with your family. Now, abusive ones may not necessarily count, but anyways. And the last one is if you care. If you don't care, it's not going to be valuable. So, let's go through them again. Learn. If you don't learn anything, you're probably not going to find it meaningful. You're probably not going to find it memorable. If you don't try, same thing. Things that come easy aren't valued. And if you don't stay, you're not going to experience it very deeply. And if you don't care, that speaks for itself. Learn from failure. Survivorship bias of success. Yes, when you see people succeed, you assume you don't see their failures, because when they fail, you don't know them. That's the nature of failure. Success consequently means visibility, and that you find out about them. But when they fail, that in itself means that you don't know about them. If everybody knew about them, then it wouldn't be considered a failure most of the time. It is technically possible, but very rarely do you get famous by failing. It is inherent that a popularity almost implies success or creates success, or it can be translated into success. So when they fail, you don't know them. So when you see success stories, that is survivorship bias. You have to understand that the things you want in the people you see, from the people that have them, that you can see, also went through a process of not having them that you didn't see. Survivorship bias. Next, apparently it was observed in a study that having a low vocabulary correlated with misconduct and crime. So, now obviously this is not me saying these things. This is just me transposing how I remember him saying it again. But the way they said it was that when they taught them more vocabulary, it made them less prone to misconduct and crime. Fascinating. I never would have thought this, actually. But the reason is because they don't understand they lack vocabulary and literacy. They can't communicate what they think, and they can't understand what other people think. So they can't learn much, because that's their ability to learn is filtered through their very limited vocabulary. Vocabulary is like an eloquence, I suppose. Your vocabulary is a bottleneck, a filter through which information can reach you. The lower the vocabulary, the smaller the hole with which information can pass through from the world and into your brain. So having less vocabulary means lower capacity for receiving information. It's like seeing the world through a small hole, the frog in the well, because you can only see this small piece of the sky. Why? Because all of the other vocabulary you don't know is information you can't receive, so it's outside of the well. Okay, that's me trying to talk like him. Anyways, I don't actually remember the way he said it. Anyways. Being a frog in a well is not about being unable to see much, but being unable not be receptive to much. The world has so much information that doesn't go into you. It passes through you. It goes in one ear, out the other. It goes in one eye and doesn't enter your brain. There is so much information, but we filter the majority of it out. Now, this isn't just from vocabulary. If you think about it, this is, if your mind is not open, you are not able to receive information. And open-minded doesn't necessarily mean... Here's the thing. When people, the most common use for open-minded really means you're not willing to accept my belief. A lot of people will say, I'm open-minded. You're not open-minded because I'm right and you're wrong, and you're not accepting my belief, therefore you're not open-minded. That in itself is the definition of not open-minded, and a lot of people tend to do this. Open-minded, I think, is not just a state, it's not just a, obviously it can be practiced, but it is a state of obviously active listening, active thinking, but most importantly, it is only possible to be truly open-minded if there are no waves in your heart. If you are at peace, if you are tranquil, then a stone can be dropped and create ripples. When there are turbulent waves, rocks dropped in won't be noticed. So only when it is at peace can rocks make waves. Okay. Tune in to life. Tune in. Think about it. When you turn on the radio, you tune in. If you turn off the radio, all of the radio waves are still passing by your car. When you turn on the radio, you are accepting one stream of information that is passing by that you otherwise wouldn't have received. All the radio waves are constantly passing by. And obviously this is old school. I don't even know how much if radio is still a thing. But the radio waves are there. You just don't receive it. You can't perceive it. When you turn it on, you activate the ability to intercept and receive the information that you are not currently receiving. That is what it means to tune in to life. When you're constantly focused on maybe the next thing in the future or the previous thing in the past. You're tuning out of life. Tune in. Turn it on. Receive the information that is passing by. Receive the experience around you. Okay. Next. People love unfairness. Crazy. Here's the thing. People love to talk about wanting fairness, but people inherently love unfairness. This is a fact. People only hate unfairness when they see it. And they only see it when it's against them, most of the time. Or it's against someone else and they're seeing it happen. When they are the beneficiary, they generally do not see it or write it off. People love unfairness and they take it for granted when it's in their favor. Nobody bets anything valuable on coin flips. They want a feeling of control because they think that odds would favor them if they have control. Listen, you want control over situations because you want things to be unfairly in your favor. This is a good thing. It makes sense. Why would you do things? Why would you pit yourself against the world in a fair probability match? Right? It's like if I put myself in a situation where either I win 50% of the time or the world wins 50% of the time, I'm gonna die soon, pretty fucking soon. So I'm gonna need to put myself in situations where I am 99.999% chance to live every single day. And then once that's done, I try to put myself in a situation where I'm 99.999% chance to live tomorrow. That's life. We don't want to pit ourselves in fair matches. So when we make problems, it's only because we feel unfairness against us. And here's the most fascinating part. If it's a 50-50, we feel that it's unfair. And I know this because I feel that it's unfair if it's a 50-50. I hate it when it's a 50-50. I hate 50-50s. I will never play a card game where I feel like it's 50-50. If I'm told that I have a 50% chance, I will give up. Okay, hold on. Let me. It's not that I'll never play a game where it's 50-50. It's the knowledge of it being 50-50 is very discouraging in terms of motivation, in terms of enjoyment, because we humans are more focused on the negatives. Negatives are amplified compared to positives. So basically, we like unfairness when it favors us. We even take it for granted when it favors us, and we hate unfairness when it is against us, and we hate even 50-50s. That's basically the summary. Next. Okay. Charisma is the ability to induce your emotion in others. Like Martin Luther King, I suppose. So that's why eloquence is important. That's why. Also, it doesn't even have to be your emotions. It would be the emotions you desire inducing. You want to induce, and it is the capacity to do so. Next. We get what we expect. If we expect to fail, we will fail. If we expect to succeed, no. If we expect that we can succeed, then we can succeed. If we expect to succeed, then we probably won't. So maybe it's not precise enough to say we get what we expect, but maybe it's we can get the results we expect we are able to. Maybe that would be more precise. Okay. People enjoy sharing their thoughts or knowledge, and you can link their warm feeling to you by listening or causing them to share with others. Oh, this is an interesting one. So this is a bit weird, but it was I was listening to something which talks about speaking with charisma, or like, public speaking, leadership, whatever it is. And what they said was that if you're public speaking in this context, and you ask a question, open, like if you have an answer but you want them to say it, you can do, for example, who can tell me which country did this in the newspaper today? Or like, who read the newspaper today about, or like, who read the news about what happened with this today? And then, maybe someone will shout out, or like, raise your hand if, and then you point out to someone and go, can you share with everybody what you know? And so this process will make them link the experience of sharing, which is positive, with you because you gave them that experience. So that they will feel closer to you, or something like that. Is basically what they were saying. Anyways, I'm just sharing what I heard. Okay. Rapport is common ground. So to build rapport is to build common ground. So that's why, I guess, the mirror psychology, if you do certain things that make them feel like you share things with them, then you build rapport, like, subtly, and then when you talk more, it helps. But basically, it's like rapport is the feeling of having common ground. So if you can induce the feeling of common ground, you build rapport. Okay. Be interested before being interesting. Yes. So if you have the ability to listen more than you have the ability to speak, that is a big plus. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. Okay. Telling people answers and showing them the math will not induce change in behavior most of the time. You have to get to their psychology behind their behavior, which is why I'll give you a simple example. If someone comes to you with therapy and says, I have a tendency to flare up at my partner when they come home with messy clothes, and then you can tell them the facts, which is those things don't matter, they don't affect you. You can tell them that to be more tidy. You can try to induce a habit for them to tidy up before walking in, or you can go through their past, and eventually it comes up that maybe their dad did it, and it was a sign of him cheating, and then your parents had a broken marriage, so you had a broken household, and then when they realize that, and so on and so forth. So that's what therapy is, and then you resolve that. So it's like, you can't just tell them the facts and expect that to change behavior. Another example is, if someone comes in and says, I want to be healthier, you can't just tell them to eat these things, change their diet this way, do this amount of exercise, do these exercises, and expect them to just start doing all of that and then be healthy, right? So you have to account for psychology, because that's how humans work. Especially the subconscious. Okay. How long was this? Long enough.